Well, welcome back to Friends by Film. I'm one of the hosts here, Daniel Polidoro.
And I'm Tyler Pacholski. Happy New Year. This is our first video of
Yes, it is.
2021. So
Happy New
Happy New Year.
Year.
We hope you had a safe and fun celebration. Daniel, what are we talking about today?
The 10 best movies of the 2010s. So I'm hoping that, I don't know, I haven't really talked about it with Tyler, but I'm hoping that we can go backwards by decade, starting with the
Oh, I'm
2010s.
totally up for
Are you
that.
down
So
for
let
that?
this
Okay.
be the beginning of
Yes,
the going back.
absolutely, because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So I have not ranked mine. So we'll start with 10, right, Tyler?
Yeah,
All right. You want me to go or you want me to start? You want to start?
I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
So
What's your number
I'm
10,
going
Tyler?
to go from going back 8 years ago. Yeah, roughly 8 years ago. The year is about, well, at this point in time, 9 years ago. Get my calculation right. We're
Yeah, I
2021.
keep forgetting it's 2021.
So the year was 2012, and this particular film came out and was the culmination of an experiment that we had all been anticipating and hoping for in the Marvel sandbox. And my number 10 movie is The Avengers by Joss Whedon. That was a film that I saw in the theater, and I think I saw it maybe twice. It was a film that I thought would never have happened. And I think a lot of comic book fans and cinephiles would also agree that that was a very pivotal film to really reunite this sandbox of characters.
It was the first like combination of
Yes.
like 4 movies, right? 3 movies? 4?
I think at that time that
3.
was, yeah.
The big
I think they
3.
introduced Iron Man, obviously. He was pretty much the start of this new iteration of the Marvel Universe. We had Thor. We had Captain America, the first Avenger. And I think that might have been it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Incredible Hulk, if you're
Incredible
going to
Hulk.
count Edward
Yes.
Norton's.
Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk, and Mark Ruffalo was the recast for Bruce Banner in that particular film. It's a very I love that film. It's a great popcorn flick. It kept me engrossed, from the beginning to the very end. I think it's a testament to the strength and the preparation of not only Kevin Feige, but for all the creative forces wanting to make sure that they can not only do justice to each character individually, but also give them the opportunity to play together in their first matchup team. So for me, The Avengers is an incredible film, and it's one of the best of the decade.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I saw in the IMAX. I think that was one of the first Marvel movies I saw in IMAX. Might have been the first. So it was a fun experience. And I agree with you. It was, for considering now we've had Endgame and we've had Infinity War and all that, but
And those
Avengers,
are great
yeah,
films as well.
Avengers was groundbreaking for its day, in 2012. I mean,
Yes.
that was a huge, like you said, a milestone. So that's a solid number 10.
What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Mad Max Fury Road from 2015, directed by George Miller. And it's kind of similar to Avengers. They had some recasting. They recasted Tom Hardy in the Mel Gibson role of Max. But it's not really a movie about Max. It's really Furiosa's story, though. I mean, have you seen the film Mad Max Fury Road?
I did. I
Okay.
saw Mad Max Fury Road, and at the time, I wasn't as impressed as a lot of people were. I think it's a great film. I think it's got incredible action, and my gosh, the cinematography, the composition of shots, just the imagining of that particular world was just beautiful. It's a very beautiful film. I think
Yeah.
the lead roles, Tom Hardy, as is it Max Radunsky? I can't remember his last name. I might be pronouncing it correctly.
Fury Road. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Fury Road.
Mad Max, I guess. I don't know.
Max something. Max is something. Gosh, it's been a while since I've seen that, so forgive me. And Charlize Theron was incredible.
Yeah.
I think that at the time they were clamoring that she should have been a shoo-in for one of the Best Actress nominations that year. Normally, a lot of those nominations go for the dramatic roles. Her role was dramatic in an action world.
That's the thing, too. I was surprised by so many Oscar nominations for Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, when I saw the trailer, I didn't think it was that good. And then I went and saw it at the Hollywood ArcLight because I was living in LA at the time, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the
Might not have
soundtrack
been.
too.
Oh yes, by is it Junkie XL?
Yeah, the sound design in theaters was amazing. You just felt like you were
Yeah.
being constantly chased. It was like one big car chase.
And
It
then
was
you got that
really,
one guy with the freaking flamethrower guitar. Wow, they're
exactly.
just high speed
It's
octane chases.
it's an
Great
insane movie.
action. Wasn't one of my top 10 movies of the decade. There's so many great movies this past
Oh
year, but
yeah.
I'm glad to see that was a movie that left an impression on you.
Yeah, and remember these are our picks, so it's like
Yes.
the audience is going to have different picks too. So it's let us know your picks below, and if you disagree
Yeah,
with
let us
us, let us
know.
know.
Top 10, top 5.
Yeah.
Let us know what your picks are.
All right, Tyler, what's your number 9?
So my number 9 is a film that started off the 2010s in 2010. It's a movie that came out in October. I do remember taking a woman out to this movie on a first date. And
Mad Max was one of those for me too.
It was one of
A
those for
side
you?
note, yeah.
Okay. So 2010, October, Wichita, Kansas, went to the Old Town Theater Warren where they had food serving at you. It is a film by David Fincher that some have hailed as one of his best, and also, if not one of the best, but the best film of the past decade is The Social Network. I enjoy everything about that film in terms of the atmosphere, the moodiness, the slow, intentional pace to build not only tension, but to drive that story forward in the workings of Facebook. I think it's a fascinating portrayal of not only Mark Zuckerberg as a character and the lengths that we will go to and the betrayals and the behind the scenes things that happen. I felt that it was a film that is probably this modern day Citizen Kane. And if you haven't seen The Social Network, I would highly recommend it. It is a very deep, dark, sometimes unsettling film. I think a lot of that also is complemented not only by David Fincher's direction and the cinematography, but also, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's first collaborations in
Definitely
terms of the
is.
soundtrack. And by that is a soundtrack that not only won the Oscar, but for me, even before it won the Oscar, it just kept going through my mind. Certain cues, certain themes. It was a film that I couldn't shake off. And so The Social Network for me is my number 9. It's a great film. Highly recommend it.
I would also say Aaron Sorkin. I think he wrote the script too, right?
Yes, and I think he
Yeah.
did win the Academy Award
Yeah.
for Best Screenplay.
So when did you go again? Because I went to the 13th Warren. I actually have my ticket right here. I found it, ironically.
Oh man, that is so awesome.
October 16th, 2010, The Social Network, 13th Avenue, Warren.
That is incredible, dude. I missed those. I have some. I didn't know you were gonna pull that out on me.
No, I just found it, dude. Like
that's incredible.
Talk about timing.
Yeah. I think it was October, but I think it was October 6th. I want to say it came out it came out in the first week of October. But that's so cool, man. What did you think of the movie? Did you like the movie?
I liked it. I don't think I've seen it since. So
okay.
I own it. I own it too, so I should rewatch it.
Well, that says something. So
yeah, no, I did enjoy it quite a bit, and I did love the music.
Good. But, did you take a date to that one?
No. Family.
Good. It's a family film. So.
Well, it is now because everybody's on Facebook.
Everybody's on
and
Facebook.
At that time, it was really only college students.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious. There's rumor of a sequel of Social Network, so I'm really curious. There's enough material now. I'm really curious to see if they actually go through with it.
Yeah. Do you think Aaron Sorkin would tackle the script?
Yeah. I think he wants to. I think if I remember right, I read an article about it. I'm not sure.
Interesting. I wonder if it'll tackle issues like privacy and things of that nature.
Oh, with the whole thing going on with Zuckerberg, yeah. I mean, that would be an insane thriller to me.
I can see that.
Yep.
Do you think we'll get a JT reprisal?
Same cast back? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think so.
So what was your number 9, Daniel?
My number 9 is a little movie called Chef.
Ooh.
Jon Favreau went back to his independent film roots in 2014 from what I think was burnout from just doing too much of the bigger budget. I think Cowboys and Aliens had kind of flopped. So I think he was like, well, let's go back to my swinger days, because he made Swingers in the 90s. But yeah, 2014, I remember being in Chicago and really depressed. So I went and saw Chef. I love the soundtrack, and I thought it's just a really easy watch, really fun, uplifting movie. And I tend to go back to this movie too, which is why I think it's worthy of my list. Because if I go back to a film and it's rewatchable for me and enjoyable, I think it deserves to be higher up on whatever list is at the time. But anyways, yeah, it's about a chef who's struggling with working for like a commercial, doing the same menus, doing the same restaurant stuff over and over, same menus. He wants to be more creative, so he decides to. He goes viral on the internet and kind of ruins his career. So then he decides to start from scratch with the food truck. So you follow him. It's also a great father-son story. I won't go into too many spoilers, but it's a great movie. It's on Netflix right now, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. Have you seen Chef, Tyler?
I haven't, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Jon Favreau has done a series now called Chef, right?
Yes,
Based
yes.
off of
That's
that
a
film?
documentary. Yeah.
Documentary. Okay, so the film Chef that you're talking about is a fictional take, right?
Yes. It's a completely
And so
original
Jon
work.
Favreau, I guess the series is regarding taking that concept and making it into a real documentary.
Yeah, I think they go around different restaurants and
That's really
he
cool.
interviews
I've
celebrities,
seen.
and it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but based on what you're describing, that sounds like kind of like one of those like
Oh yeah.
kind of down in the dumps and then pulling yourself back up kinds of
Yep.
stories. So that is definitely something that I can understand as being like inspiring.
Yeah, and it's really a display of, I think Favreau was just working out some stuff, and it's just great. Really, it's an easy watch. I just enjoyed that aspect of it too. It's really easy, and I needed it at that moment, so it was great.
Good.
So I've always had
Good.
a soft spot for Chef.
Good, man.
Let's see. Did you number 9 yet?
Yes. So my number
Okay,
9 was The Social Network. And
that's right.
so my number 8 is a film that came out 10 years ago this year. And it's a film directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. Can't remember what month I saw it in. However, it stars Ryan Gosling and a very early role for Oscar Isaac. And I can't remember the female counterpart in that film.
Carey
The
Mulligan.
movie is Drive.
Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan. I was thinking Monahan. Yeah. Mulligan. So thank you. Drive is a film that I saw with my brothers and my dad in the theater. And for those of you that have seen it, follows the story of a stunt driver who is pretty much, I can't remember if we actually identify a name, but he kind of takes on the role of just almost like a protagonist. And so we see him thrusted into this crime world. He's a driver. He not only works stunts in the film industry, he's hired to help people steal things. And so he's the driver. Something goes wrong. I won't leave any spoilers, but it's a very stylistic, very dark, neo-noir type of film. Very moody, atmospheric. The soundtrack by Clint Mansell.
Amazing.
And some synthwave artists elevates the film to a level that not only maintains its style, but leaves an impression on you. And so for me, Drive is an excellent film. It's a film that I tend to rewatch every other year. I think it's a film that if you want to talk about with your friends, you can talk about it, days on end. Doesn't require too much thought. It's just a film that is not only simple in its storytelling devices, but also Ryan Gosling, for someone as stoic as the driver, he plays that perfectly. And so for me, Drive is my number 8 film of the decade.
Yeah, man, I have a crazy. I don't know. I started out with Drive. I hated it. Like I blind bought it on Blu-ray, and I couldn't stand it. I thought it was just so boring and dumb. So then a couple of years later, it's on Netflix. I check it out, and I'm like, this movie's badass. Like I did a complete turn. I don't know what was going on earlier, but I was like, this is awesome. I like it.
So that must have been a rarity. I've had that happen before, and I can't remember a specific film, but I think there was a film that I saw that I was like, man, what was I thinking? Why didn't I think this was amazing?
Drive's one of those movies that it gets better each time. Mm-hmm. And I would also like to shout out Albert Brooks' performance is really good too, as the mafia guy.
Excellent performance. Ron Perlman does an excellent job.
Bryan Cranston's also in it.
Bryan Cranston. Again,
Got a
not going
great
into
cast.
spoilers, but if you're looking for a film that's going to lift you up, this is not the film. So make sure that you're tuning into watching Chef.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I did like a lot of the montages in this. I thought those
there
were
is a love
at
story
times, so
that I do find very affectionate, and I think Drive does it fairly well. So if you haven't checked out Drive, check it out. Daniel, what's your number 8 film of the decade?
Gosling has a thing I've noticed because I watched First Man today, and I noticed that he plays that silent type really well, like with Blade Runner 2049.
Yes. Blade Runner 2049.
And First Man, and now and Drive. So, all right, my number 8, The Artist. The silent film Best Picture winner of 2011 by I can't pronounce his name, the director, but
is it a French director?
It is, yes. I think it's predominantly French cast actually too, but I
believe so.
This was my first foray into silent movies, and I took my grandma to see it. We both loved it, and we saw it again at the Orpheum Theater in Wichita, if you're familiar with that place. And then I got into silent films. I got into Chaplin. I got into other films, but I really loved The Artist. It's about a struggling actor, a silent film megastar, a la Chaplin, that is struggling with crossing over to talkies. So it's kind of a simple story, but it's got a nice little charm to it, and I love the dog in it. Have you seen The Artist, Tyler?
I did, and I saw it with a good friend of mine back in the day, and I enjoyed it. I did win the Best Picture, won quite a bit of awards.
Yeah, it was kind of
I thought it was a fascinating take into this actor's struggle with not only being a physical presence, but learning how to transitioning over to actually having to speak, and the issue of, like, hey, like this might not be something that he's going to be able to carry on forward with. And so I don't remember so much about it. It's not the most memorable film for me. It's a very charming film. Again, the dog, now that you brought it up to me, I think John Goodman's in the film as well. He has a turn of either some sort of studio head. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun film. So,
I really enjoyed the soundtrack too. I bought it, so
nice.
Yeah, it was like another, like, because 2011 was when I was flirting with going to film school, so it was kind of like inspirational in that way. Like, hey, you can make movies, a different way, and this is kind of, the artist is like, oh, there's silent movies. There's you can show things. You don't have to tell people everything.
Exactly.
It was like a new perspective. What was your number 7? Are we on 7?
Yes. So my number 7 film is a movie that came out 7 years ago. The year was 2014. And it starred an action star, a star that most people are very familiar with, if not then, more so now. Keanu Reeves, his entry into the world of John Wick. John Wick was a film that I didn't see in 2014. It took me a few years. However, did see it, and my gosh, from beginning to end, I was just sucked right in. I think the premise is very simple. You have a hitman who is trying to leave his life. There is a component of family in that, and something happens, and he's pulled right into that because something was taken from him that you can't mess with. Baba Yaga. So John Wick is a great film that has incredible action, incredible, they call it gung fu, not kung fu. And it's a film that has not only re-energized a pulse into action films, but it's also re-energized a resurgence into Keanu. And I think Keanu is an incredible, not only actor, but an incredible person, I understand. And so John Wick takes the cake for me in terms of number 7.
So this is your favorite one of the 3, you would say?
I would say at this point in time, it is my favorite of the 3. We know that the 4th one is going to be coming out. Right. I did enjoy the other 2 entries. I think for me, if I were to rank them off the top of my head, it's probably 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Cool.
2 and 3 are a little neck and neck. I think 1 is the best one.
Right.
Okay. Have you seen John Wick?
I did see it. I saw it at the Palace on West Wichita when that thing was still working.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fun. I did not like the ending too much. Thought it was too short. I know I probably for budget reasons they had it in the rain and stuff, but that's the only gripe I have. Otherwise, I really liked it, and it did get better the more I watched it. And I prefer John Wick 3. I think is the best one. So the best is yet to come for John Wick. But but I gotta say, John Wick has kind of changed the industry a little bit with the gun fu, or the what'd you say, gun fu? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, the gun fu and the way it's shot, because Atomic Blonde came out and it was similar style to John Wick, and now they're coming out with a Bob Odenkirk movie called Nobody that's similar style, except they're using him.
I did hear that he's going to be starring in a thriller, some sort of action thriller.
Yeah, it's the same people did John Wick, and it's this time it's like they took his cat's kitty litter or something.
Okay, so Saul Goodman's going out for revenge now?
Yeah.
All right.
And they're like, "Who are you?" And then he's like, "Nobody." So yeah, it's
nice. And then I can imagine, I haven't seen the trailer, but Nobody.
Yep, exactly. It comes out next month, I think.
Okay, cool. We'll have to review it.
Maybe, yeah. All right. Now,
so Daniel, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is another Best Picture winner, The Shape of Water from 2017, Guillermo del Toro. And I love this movie. It's a unconventional love story. Guillermo del Toro was inspired by The Creature of the Black Lagoon. As a kid, he wondered what would happen if the creature fell in love with the woman in the film instead of haunting her. So I thought it's a great story that Guillermo del Toro has like a passion project to make this movie happen. And I thought it was a great callback to, because it kind of has a period piece to it, I think the 1940s or something. And it's really, there's some different shades of what I love about Guillermo del Toro's movies is he has like this, the cinematography is amazing. He has this like every detail is planned out, every color scheme. Like there's a lot of greens in this one, and there's a lot of different stuff. So basically there's like this alien life form or creature that they find, and Michael Shannon plays the bad guy after trying to essentially get rid of it, and they're running experiments on it and stuff. And then there's a woman who works at the facility who falls in love with the creature, so she tries to break him out, so we follow her journey into that. And I thought it was a very sweet film, and I can't believe it won Best Picture. I mean, it's a really good film. I'm just surprised that it won Best Picture so easily. Nobody really, because the year before that they had like the Moonlight, La La Land stuff, and then it just seems to always be controversy with Best Picture nominees, and it didn't seem that there was too much with The Shape of Water. So Tyler, have you seen Shape of Water?
I did see Shape of Water, and I really enjoyed it. I was also surprised, and then also not surprised. You did kind of hit it on the nail, and I think this was a love letter to Guillermo del Toro's love for, and I haven't seen them all, but the Universal monster films of the 30s, your Frankenstein, your Creatures from the Black Lagoon. This felt like a modern day take on that. And I think that the passion that Guillermo del Toro has, not only for that, but even just for filmmaking in terms of the cinematography, the choices he made, it's a great film. I thought it was beautiful. Yeah. It's a love story, like you said, that transcends aspects of species and all sorts of things. Some people might be turned off by it, and I can understand, depending on certain belief points. However, it is a film that at the very core is about outcasts and people that are marginalized, or not people, but things that are marginalized, looking to be in relationship. And so I think it's a beautiful film that talks about that, if not explicitly, at least conveys that and shows that on film. And so it has a lot of power. So I think it was definitely worthy of the Best Picture during that year. Can't remember what it was up against, or
I can't either.
What was. Yeah. But it was definitely a film that left an impression on me, and I haven't seen it. I've seen bits and pieces since, maybe on television. But if I do see it on television, I'm going to linger on it for a while. I'm not going to stray away. It's that type of film.
Yeah, and I love the nice little twist at the end, where I don't want to spoil it, but it was a nice
Go
little.
see the Shape of Water, guys.
Check out Shape of Water. All right, Tyler, number 6. What was your number 6?
So my number 6 film for me, and this is going to surprise you a little bit, Daniel, but it's from the same director, Denis Villeneuve. It's a film that stars Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal. It's called Prisoners. It's a film that came out in 2013, and I saw that in the theater on the east side of town. It's a very dark, dour type of film. It follows the story of a family who, during a holiday feast, gather together. The daughter heads outside with a friend. There happens to be someone in the neighborhood. Child goes missing. It's a story that's just fraught with drama, suspense, intrigue, mystery, violence. It's a very hard film that challenges viewers to ask at what length and extent is someone willing to go to defy their values, things that they believe in, to get something that they want. And that whether that's a good or a bad thing.
Right.
And it's a challenging film, very powerful, incredible acting, incredible directing. 2013's Prisoners takes the cake for my number 6.
Nice. Solid choice. Polidoro also is a punching bag in this movie.
Oh my God.
For Hugh Jackman.
Whoa. So like I said, this is a film that's it's a hard film. It's going to challenge some viewers. But for those that are willing to take the journey and the risk to go through that, it's, I think, a worthwhile film to check out. Have you seen Prisoners? I mean, you did mention the punching bag thing.
Yes, I saw it. I was living at a Motel 6, and I saw it. I thought it was too long. But, yeah, it was good for what it is. You know, it is very dark.
Yes.
It is very dark. Which as you'll see, as my list differs, I don't go for much dark. I do some. There's some,
yeah.
But not. So we are on number 6.
Number 6 for you.
Not a very dark movie. The Silver Linings Playbook from 2012. David O. Russell. So I read the book, and then I saw the movie. This is for a college class, actually. So I went and saw the movie, and I was pleasantly surprised. At this point, I didn't really like Bradley Cooper. This won me over. So basically, it's about it's a great job. This film is very good at describing like mental illness, anxiety, depression, and things of that nature. So Bradley Cooper is recently released from a mental institution. Goes back home to live. He's obsessed with getting his wife back. And then he finds the neighbor, played by Jennifer Lawrence. She distracts him, essentially, wanting him. She's going to get letters to his ex-wife if he will train the dance with her at this end of the year recital around Christmas time. So, it's an unconventional love story because they both have mental issues. She has self-esteem issues. She sleeps around. She's got depression, anxiety. They bond over one of the early bonding scenes when they bond over what medicines they're taking for their diagnosis. It's also a very funny movie. I thought it's a very charming movie. Robert De Niro was also in it playing the father. Chris Tucker doesn't act much. He's in it. Julia Stiles is in it as well. So I mean, there's a well-rounded cast. I've thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I do watch it probably every year.
Oh wow!
Have you seen Silver Linings Playbook?
I haven't seen Silver Linings Playbook. It's not a film that I immediately thought to myself, "Man, I got to go see." David O. Russell, the director, is a director who's come out with movies like I Heart Huckabees. In later years, he's come out with American Hustle. And you're right. I think this was a film that, if I'm not mistaken, did garner Bradley Cooper with an Oscar nomination. He might have been his first.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence.
He was coming off of the success of the Hangover films. And I think he might have jumped into more of the kind of suspense, Limitless. I think it was around that time.
Right.
So, and this also earned Jennifer Lawrence her first Oscar.
That's right.
So I've understood the film to handle mental health issues and to be a kind of a drama comedy of sorts.
Yeah, dramedy for sure.
Yeah, haven't seen it, but I might have to give it a shot.
Yeah, I would. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. But, let's see. Your number 5, Tyler.
So my number 5 is a film that came out in 2015. It's directed as a feature film debut from the director. Oh my gosh, Eggers. What's his first name?
Robert.
So sorry, guys. Robert Eggers, correct? Yes, Robert Eggers.
Eggers.
The Witch. This is a film that, again, I hadn't seen during that particular year. I did see promos for it, and I just thought to myself, this is probably going to be a C-rate type of film. When I caught it on Netflix a couple years ago, I was blown away. The Witch is a film, again, that is dark in nature. I mean, deals with witchcraft, but it follows the story of a New England family during some period of time in the pre-colonial or colonial era. This is a family that has decided, based upon the father's wishes, to exile self from the town due to religious beliefs. And during that time, something happens in the family that involves something in the woods. And this is a family that starts to increase in tension, paranoia, all these different types of family dynamics just kind of crumbling. A family pretty much coming to self and having to deal with things that no one likes to deal with: grief, anger, frustration. There's themes of religious oppression. There's themes of, tons of themes that are indicative of that time, particularly around religion. And so The Witch was an incredibly moody film, had great composition, a great, just chilling soundtrack. I have the LP, and it's a film that it gets better upon rewatch.
Okay.
It is a film, that is transcends the horror genre and the family drama. So for me, The Witch is a great film and one of the best of the decade.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Witch?
I have seen it. I saw it in theaters, and that was the only time.
Okay,
it was really, really well shot. Cinematography is amazing. And it's a slow burn, and it's a very haunting ending, I will say. I was left with chills at the end, like freaked out. So that's why I have not revisited the film, but it is definitely well made, and I can definitely appreciate the craftsmanship and what it's done for the horror genre since. Mm-hmm. I have not seen The Lighthouse, but I have seen The Witch.
Lighthouse is good. It's a film that you're going to require maybe some repeat viewings. However, that film tends to kind of, for me, not do so well. It's a worthwhile movie. I think it's a technical great marvel in terms of the composition and stuff. But check it out, man. But check out The Witch.
Check out
guys.
The Witch, though. Check out The Witch.
Yes, check that one out.
All right, now my number 5 is one that people don't really know about. Nebraska from 2013. Alexander Payne is the director. It's a black and white movie, and it's about an old man, Bruce Stern, who has won $1 million, or so he's told, and he wants to get there to collect. And it's in Nebraska. So he's living in Montana, and he wants to go to Nebraska to collect, but he can't drive, so he enlists his son to go with him. It's a road trip movie. It's a father-son movie. I thought it was very Midwest, which I really appreciate. And I love Alexander Payne's movies. I like the tone that he has in his movies. It's very Coen Brother-esque. I thought it was a great dramedy. June Squibb steals every scene she's in. Especially the scene in the cemetery. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Great movie. It's one I saw multiple times in the theaters. Have you seen Nebraska, Tyler?
I have seen Nebraska, and I can't remember so much about it. I remember seeing it, I think, on Blu-ray with my family at one point in time, and I remember, Bruce Dern's character. He's kind of like a curmudgeon, like
Yep.
kind of person. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the brothers from Home Alone's in that film. Biff, not Biff. No. A Buzz. Buzz, the actor, is in that film.
Is he?
And yeah,
Is he one of the?
not to say it was a bad film. I just can't remember it. It was a film
Right.
that didn't leave that much of an impression on me, but I'm glad it did for you.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of the funeral or the cemetery scene. I'm trying to think, but I did remember that June Squibb did get nominated at least for that role.
And Bruce Dern also Best Picture for Nebraska nomination and director as well. She shows her privates to.
Oh, okay.
One of the tombstones.
Wait, did Alexander Payne direct About Schmidt?
Yes, absolutely.
He's got a thing for like actresses of an older age showing themselves. So hey, power to him and everyone else, and power to the actresses.
Hey, we'll see if that makes my 2000s list.
Okay.
What was your number 4, Tyler? Getting close to the top 3.
Yeah, we're getting close to the top 3. My number 4 film is a movie that came out in 2017. And unbeknownst to me, it was a film that actually is included in a universe that I actually was able to appreciate back in 2000 with Unbreakable. This is a film that stars James McAvoy and Anna Taylor-Joy. It is a film that marked, in my opinion, a revival of M. Night Shyamalan. It's the movie Split. I saw that film with my father in the theater, and that is a movie theater experience I will never forget. I recall watching that film with my dad, enjoying it from beginning to end. I felt the tension, the suspense, the narrative, and the way that is constructed by M. Night Shyamalan was incredible. After seeing films like The Happening, Lady in the Water, his films that are not my favorite.
What's the one where the grandparents want to put their grandchildren in the oven or whatever?
Oh, The Visit. Yeah, now, that is a film that I do appreciate and will watch every once in a while. However, Split was a film that was a return to form. It was definitely a film that was exuding with excitement, suspense, thrills. I just had a lot of fun, and without going into any spoilers, well, I guess I kind of alluded to Unbreakable. It turned everything on its head, and I remember in the theater just going, "Are you serious?" My dad had to calm me down, and I know I don't talk during movies, but it did give that response out, and I was super excited. At the end, yes, at the very end of the film, you can ask my dad. He was like, "Tyler, come on." And I was like, "I can't believe this is happening." And I think a lot of people who saw that film felt the same way. So Split is my number 4 film of the decade.
Nice, man. That's solid.
Yeah. Have you seen Split?
I have. Yeah.
Did you like it?
No.
No? Okay.
But I didn't like Unbreakable either. So.
Okay. Yeah.
My number 4 is similar to Split in the way that it's kind of a rejuvenation of a franchise or a reboot sequel. Creed from 2015 by Ryan Coogler. So Ryan Coogler at this point had done Fruitvale Station, and then Creed was going to be his second movie. It's a love letter to his dad because him and his dad would always watch Rocky films, and his dad was dying of cancer. So he decided to pitch the idea to Stallone. Stallone refused. So Coogler went and made Fruitvale Station, proving that he was, like worthy of a filmmaker. So then Stallone agreed, hey, yeah, take the reins. So it follows Apollo Creed's, bastard son, Adonis Creed. And Adonis is a fighter, but he fights mostly in Mexico. So there's not really like professional fighting. So he decides, he wants to be a fighter, and he tracks down Rocky and tries to convince him to train him, and Rocky ends up having cancer, and Adonis and Rocky they have like a father-son bonding moment experience. So and that stuff's all in the trailer if you haven't seen the film, but it's if you're a big Rocky fan like I am, it was just a great, kind of like Cobra Kai, where it's a different angle into a franchise. Whereas, it's because it's the Creed side, whereas we're done with the Balboa side, but he's a supporting character. So Stallone was also nominated again for playing the same character of Rocky for best supporting actor that year. So it's kind of, when it was announced, it was like, you're crazy, you're making the number Rocky number 7, like this is not gonna work, and it worked. Have you seen Creed, Tyler?
I have seen Creed, and that was a film that I felt was really powerful. I saw that with my family in the theater, and it is a great film. Again, it's a film about, like you had mentioned prior, you have this character, the son of Creed, who is, if I'm not mistaken, he's troubled.
Yeah, he's
right?
actually like in a foster home.
Foster home, that's right. And his mom, I think, comes to see him,
Yeah,
or somebody comes to see him.
Apollo's wife comes.
Apollo's wife.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Apollo's wife. That's right. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Right.
But it's a story that has a lot of inspiration. I remember that I was completely enamored with Michael B. Jordan's performance. I think Michael B. Jordan did an incredible job. And also, gosh, Sylvester Stallone should have, in my opinion, won the Oscar that year for his best supporting role. I can't remember who might have taken that.
That guy from
Mark
the Tom
Rylance
Hanks movie. Yep.
Yes, Mark Rylance, which he's a phenomenal actor, I get. However, Michael B. Jordan and Stallone have incredible chemistry. It's a film that is as inspiring, if not more inspiring, than any of the other Rocky films, and it stands not only tall on its own, but it stands as a worthy successor to the foundation provided by Sylvester Stallone in those other movies.
Yeah, I think it stands up there with Rocky, the original. It's kind of crazy.
And also, it was just announced not too long ago formally that Michael B. Jordan will be helming the new Creed 3.
Yeah, I was disappointed with Creed 2, I'm not going to lie.
Sure. I haven't seen Creed 2.
But yeah, I mean, I got to do a trilogy, right? So I'm hoping it's a new take. Maybe he'll do MMA or something instead of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. All right, Tyler, we're going to head into the top 3 now. So what's your number 3?
So my number 3 film is a movie that came out last year. It's another Best Picture winner. It's Parasite. This is a film that I saw during the Tallgrass Film Festival here in Wichita, Kansas, where I'm from. I saw it with my brother in a museum setting, and blown away.
In a museum?
I saw it at the Wichita Art Museum. So the film festival was doing screenings across the city. And that was a film that I had not much idea of. And I kind of wanted to go in cold turkey. And by God, it is a film that handles a host of different genres, comedy, the drama, suspense, some horror. It's a film that is well balanced, in my opinion, and just tells a timeless tale of not only, classism, but just, greed. Trying to think what else. There's just so many different themes going on, and I just think it's excellently crafted suspense thriller. The first act of the film feels like its own different type of film, but then when you get into the next act, it just turns the tables into something else that subverted my expectations in a great way. So Parasite for me is not only incredible in its impact as a film, but what it has in terms of the history of film. It was the first film from an international platform to win the Best Picture, which is normally, films that are made in the West. And so it was a film that finally kind of broke the barriers in that regard. And so I think that going forward, Parasite is going to have a lasting impression and legacy. And it's going to open up more opportunity for others to check into not only South Korean cinema, but just international cinema in general. There's a lot of great international films that probably most people here in the United States might not be aware of. And so I think Parasite's a great gateway into international filmmaking, and also the filmography of Bong Joon-ho.
Oh yeah, he's a fantastic director. Uh, I like you. I also went into Parasite not knowing what it was going to be about. I thought maybe it was going to be actually literally parasites, but I mean, they are parasites, so it does
Mhm.
live up to the name. But yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a moment in Act Two where we find out some stuff, and then it's like, yeah, it flips the tables, and
Hmm.
it kept going and building off of that. So it's very suspenseful, especially the first time. It's very shocking. It's one of those movies that you have to pay attention because you have to read subtitles and you have to really pay attention to all details in order to get it. And the characters are very fleshed out. They're very unique to the scenario, and I think it won Best Picture because of the themes, like you said, the greed, the classism, and so I think it was very relatable worldwide. So yeah, it was, like you said, it's very groundbreaking. So that's a very good pick. My number three is Birdman, which was the revival of Michael Keaton, in my opinion. 2015, uh, directed by Inarritu. It is shot basically, they tried to go for like a one take for the whole movie. So it's shot sort of like a play as well, because it tackles Broadway and that culture. So Michael Keaton plays a washed up action star, very meta. Uh, he starred in several Birdman movies. The guy who played Batman starred in Birdman movies. So then he wants to do open for a Broadway show, a Raymond Chandler, I think Raymond Chandler play, I believe. And I just thought it was a beautifully well done movie. The choreography, I still don't know how they pulled it off. I guess they essentially shot a play on film. It was winner of Best Picture. Michael Keaton puts in a probably his best performance he's ever put in. He goes dark. He's funny. He's got problems with his daughter, played by Emma Stone. He has competition in Edward Norton for stage time. He's got this crazy superhero power telekinesis thing going on that we're not even sure if it's real or not, and it's it's a trippy movie. I thought it was fantastic. I was blown away when I saw it. Have you seen Birdman, Tyler?
I did see Birdman, and I thought it was incredible. A take from Michael Keaton, really relishing in a role that was very meta. I think he was very much aware of that too. Birdman, Batman, they're kind of the same.
Yeah, and there's a scene
Right?
in there where he's cussing out like Tony Stark too. It was great.
Yeah, I thought those the whole aspect of a one shot. I think kind of, and that's something that I didn't even think about, but it's almost shot like a play. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like the one shot composition was fantastic. The performances are very powerful. If I'm not mistaken, Edward Norton's in it as well.
Yes,
And if it was my Naomi
and
Watts as
Naomi
well,
Watts as well. Yes.
Naomi Watts, yes, okay. It's not a film that I can recall a lot of moments from. However, I think it's a great film. If I'm not mistaken, Michael Keaton was a favorite to win that year, and I think he lost out to Eddie Redmayne in The Theory of Everything. So that's a film that's fine. I think Michael Keaton probably should have taken it, but Birdman, yeah, it's a great film. It's got some comedy, it's got some
Oh yeah,
drama. So
I love dark humor.
yes, definitely some dark humor. Yes.
All right, we've come to number two. What's your number two, Tyler?
So my number two film is a movie that came out in 2018, and it's another feature debut from a director, Ari Aster, and that is 2018's Hereditary. Hereditary was a film that I saw by myself in the theater. I think
By
there
yourself?
were,
Wow.
yeah, by myself. I was brave. This is a film that I had been hearing rumblings of as being one of the scariest films in years. And I was like, when I hear that tagline in trailers, I get a little skeptical. So I think I might have watched one of the trailers and I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. This looks entertaining. So I went into the film, again, with certain moments to expect, but man, by God, that is a film that is incredibly dreadful, just oozing with themes of grief. Toni Collette plays a mother, who has recently lost her mother, and the family from different walks of perspective, kind of doing their own thing, almost disconnected, detached from each other, have to, to bear with each other during grief. And so it's a film that is, again, oozing with dread and has elements of cultism. And there are, without going into spoilers, things that happen in the film that are completely shocking, that are not only meant to shock, but to propel continuous shock throughout. And I think it's a feature debut that is probably one of the best that I've seen in my life. It's a film that I've seen probably one too many times, and I've shown to others who have either loved it or hated it. I think it's a film that you'll either love or hate. I don't know of anybody who is kind of middle with it. It's a very powerful, just, dreadful film. And so Hereditary, for what it did for me and the impression it made for me, it makes my number 2 for the decade. Have you seen Hereditary?
I have seen it. And I fall in the hate category.
All right.
Unfortunately, yeah. I thought the acting was horrible, and it was just, I don't know.
I am your mother.
I preferred Midsommar if I had to choose. But yeah.
Good. I did like Midsommar. Midsommar is an honorable mention.
I appreciate your choice, though. I could see why you chose it. I mean, I have some of those too that you kind of relate to. Not really relate to, but
yeah, I don't know if you want to relate to anything.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said that. I took that back. I was like, what's the word? I guess,
resonate with?
Resonate, entertained by?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a film that's not for everybody. If you've got nothing to do on a October night and you're looking to get the shit scared out of you, give Hereditary a shot. It's going to do something for you. And if you need to reach out to supports, totally fine. It's definitely a film that is shocking and meant to do so in a way to have a profounding impact in a conversation about grief and other things.
Nice. Solid pick.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Logan from 2017, directed by James Mangold. So this one was kind of I had expectations for it because I knew it was going to be the last movie for Hugh Jackman, and I knew it was going to be rated R. I knew they were going to go through like the Old Man Logan graphic novel, but I didn't expect it to blow me away like it did with the performances and how grounded and raw and real and how much of a Western it feels like. And the girl blew me away, X-23. I forgot the actress's name, but
Daphne Keane,
yeah, for her screen debut, I mean, wow. It blew me away. And Hugh Jackman was great, of course. The direction by James Mangold was just phenomenal. Patrick Stewart is amazing. I think he should have been nominated for something.
I agree. If not Oscar, a Golden Globe or something.
I mean, you get Professor X cussing, and he was funny in it too. It was just, I don't know. It was great. It was a great turn. He's losing his mind, Professor X. So I don't know. It's fun. It's a slogan. Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine. He's struggling with his powers going away and just getting older and losing and taking the blame for murdering and, well, I guess I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but he's grieving over the mutants that have passed away and his friends. So it was a very grounded film, and it still resonates with me. And I recently just watched it on 4K again because it's great. And I had the black and white version as well. So have you seen Logan? I know we saw it together. So actually,
yeah, Logan is an incredible film, man. It's one of my honorable mentions of the year, and there's just so much pathos, so much love, so much depth added to these characters, not only to Logan and Professor X, but also to, again, X-23. It's a film that reminded me of films like Terminator 2 Judgment Day, where we have a surrogate parent taking care of a lost child. And I think Daphne Keane is on the level of Edward Furlong in terms of childhood debuts from actors and actresses. And so Logan has incredible action. It has again, just those themes of, for me, I resonate with those types of films that really, really lean into like relational issues. And so, we get to see Logan come into terms with what has happened and what's going on now, and his pretty much mission to take this person to this place. And so,
Yeah.
without going into any spoilers, it's an incredibly deep and moving film that I think not only honors the the comic book world and the X-Men franchise, but just universal themes of what it means to be, a friend, a parent, and things of that nature. So Logan is a great film.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we come to the big moment. What's your number one?
All right. So my number one film is a film that was nominated for Best Picture in 2016, and that film is Damien Chazelle's La La Land. La La Land was a film that I saw just right after Christmas with my family. I was transitioning out from one job into another, and it was a film that blew me away. I'm not a big fan of musicals. Don't really like people jumping into like these, extravagant numbers. It's a film that has that component, but it's not too much tied with it. There's some intimate things regarding it, but I think what resonated for me too was the fact that I was exiting out of a relationship. And this is a film that, again, talks about relationship in a way where we all have choices to make. We all have dreams, desires, and it takes place in the context of Hollywood and La La Land and everybody wanting to do this and be this and that. And we come across people in our lives that can help us or not help us. And without going into spoilers, it's a beautiful and very realistic take that kind of pushes the boundaries by, glorifying certain romantic aspects, but also touching down on some real nitty-gritty relational things. And so it's a film that took me by surprise, wasn't expecting to be touched the way I was. But for the time that I was in and what I was going through, it was a film that really spoke to my desires and my passions and really brought comfort to me that no matter what happens, as long as we continue to pursue what we want to do, things are going to work out. And we might be surprised in the process. And so La La Land for me is an incredibly directed, incredibly crafted film from Damien Chazelle. Great acting all around. Emma Stone won the Oscar for Best Actress. It was prematurely announced as the winner for the Best Picture.
In 20 seconds.
I wasn't as displeased because Moonlight, which ended up taking the award, is also an incredible, great film. But La La Land had a bigger impact on me than where I was at that time. And so for me, La La Land is my number one film of the last decade.
Wow. Excellent choice. It also, I guess, lifted me up during that time when I saw it. I remember being very depressed after moving back to Kansas from LA. So it was nice to see LA and see some locations that I've been to in the film. So it's a lot of fun, well directed. I mean, sometimes I'm afraid to watch it. I haven't watched it in probably 2 years because I get so emotional at the end. It crushes me. But yeah, I didn't make my list, but it's very close to being on my list. Okay, so my number one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from 2019, directed by Quentin Tarantino. And it stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt as Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth. It's really a friendship movie. This is rumored to be like a big Charles Manson, not Marilyn Manson, Charles Manson's story. People were freaking out. This is going to be really offensive and stuff, but I don't know. Anyways, it turned out to be basically a fun ride into 1969. Cool music. I mean, in my opinion, I think the soundtrack is a character in this movie. The way that he uses the radio. But we follow Rick and he's struggling as an actor. He's struggling with alcoholism. He's got a lot of issues. And Cliff is there to pick him up, his stunt man. And they go through this journey in 1969. There's 3 days throughout the film. And he lives next door to Sharon Tate, who, as we know, was married to Roman Polanski, and we know the history behind it. But the great thing about Tarantino, he's been doing with Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained, he's kind of put his little twist on history. I won't go into spoilers, but if you get my drift, I'd highly recommend Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It is a longer film, but I feel like it's worth it. And it's one that I go back to multiple times. I saw this movie like 7 times in theaters on 4 different formats.
7 times?
7 times.
Do you
And
have it available to you? Do you have it on 4K?
yeah, 4K
Good.
Steelbook. I've
Same
got
here.
the orange vinyl with the movie
Yes.
poster. I framed the poster. It's massive. It's awesome. I don't know. I'm in love with this movie. I'm in love with the old Hollywood. And when I see it, it's like a breath of fresh air. I'm transported back to 1969. And I also have my own Hollywood memories. So it's a lot of things going on there. But it's fun. I think it's relatable too. You know, you can't give up on things that you want in life, and you just got to roll with the punches and keep moving forward and keep trying to do the best you can. And you never know what kind of opportunities might come. So I feel like Rick. Oh yeah, Julia Butters, who plays the little girl in one of the. And I mean, she did a great job acting against DiCaprio. And there's this particular scene in the movie. There's also Timothy Olyphant's in the movie. There's a huge cast in this. Margot Robbie is great as Sharon Tate. There was some arguments that maybe Sharon Tate wasn't featured as much in this as she should have been, but I think it's just cool that she's alive. You know, she's breathing. She's part of the story. You know, she's there, and it's just I thought it was a great tribute to her and her life, and it's a great tribute to 1969 Hollywood. Tyler, have you seen the movie?
I have. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is an incredible film. It didn't make my top 10, obviously, but it is a film that I am planning to revisit. I know that there were some concerns regarding the revisionistic history behind it. However, this is a love letter from Quentin Tarantino, his appreciation for a particular time of Hollywood that we don't really get to see a lot of. And like you said, when it comes to the music, incredible soundtrack. Again, some people would have gripes with certain long takes and shots with going from one place to the other or just seeming nothing happening. This is a film that is very atmospheric and just oozing with that Los Angeles Hollywood feel. And for anybody that has either felt that, you know, in the past or even been to Hollywood like yourself, I can only imagine that that's going to create excitement and if not nostalgia. And so I think it's an incredible film. Leonardo DiCaprio and God, Brad Pitt does an incredible job as Cliff Booth. He is amazing. And it's a little bit.
The thing too about the movie, I kept going back to research things. I kept going back to like, you know, Green Hornet and stuff like that. Like that was all controversial with the Bruce Lee scene. I went back and I researched all kinds of stuff just because there's so many little gems in that movie. There's a Joe Namath movie who was a quarterback for the New York Jets. They show that where that's what Sharon Tate walks into the theater. They were playing a trailer for a Joe Namath movie that's an actual movie. So I went back and watched that movie. So it was like a treasure chest of old Hollywood. I wish it was 5 hours. So, I mean, there's rumor of a there's a rumor of a 4-hour cut coming to Netflix, kind of like the Hateful Eight.
Yes,
I would love that.
Oh, absolutely.
He is doing a novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that'll be out this summer.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna pick that up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you know, some of the gripes that some people have was, you know, some people are expecting a Tarantino film to have, you know, ultra violence, and there's some of that in here. And however, this is a film that I had described at one point in time as like fine wine. We're taking our time, you know, enjoying the wine, and then when it hits you, it hits you. And so it's a film that I think will stand the test of time. It's one of Quentin Tarantino's top films. I would say it's easily in his top 5. However, this is a a filmmaker who has paved the way for so much innovation in terms of storytelling, technique,
Script
just
writing.
dialogue. And so, yeah, Once Upon a Time is a great film. And my gosh, I can't remember the last time I saw a film 7 times, but man, if that's not your number one, I don't know what is, man. So I'm glad Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was your number one film
I
of the
know.
decade.
That's what I told myself before I went on. I was like, you saw that movie so many times. I mean, you probably gave like $100 in tickets alone,
But it's a
popcorn.
great movie.
Who knows? Yeah.
Great cameos. You got Al Pacino. You have Emile Hirsch. You have, gosh, who else was in it? Yeah, you did say Timothy Olyphant.
Zoe Bell, who's always in Tarantino stuff.
Yes, it's a film that is
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a theory going around that maybe Rick Dalton might have been playing the character of Candy. What's his name? Calvin Candy. In Django Unchained. And so potentially Django Unchained is a film that is a part of that universe, that 1969 Tarantino Hollywood revisionistic history. What are your thoughts on that? Have you heard that before?
I have not. I have heard the theory that Charles Manson is actually not Charles Manson in the film. It's actually Chris Christopherson. But I don't. The novelization might give us some hints on this.
There you go. We might figure it out.
I imagine that, and this is a little bit of spoilers, I imagine that Rick Dalton went on to do Chinatown.
Okay. What makes you think that?
Because
of his relationship with Polanski?
He met Polanski through Sharon Tate.
I can see that happening.
And then people always say that DiCaprio looks like Nicholson. So
there you go.
There we go. Hey, I think we both have solid lists, and we have different movies, so I think that was great.
It is, and I think what's great about both of our lists is that these are just great films that I think everybody should at least give an opportunity to check out. Some movies that are on our list, maybe more so on mine in terms of the dark matter, might not appeal to certain people. Regardless, they're very well crafted, well acted, well thought out films. And yeah, the beauty of Friends by Film is we get to talk about films with you guys, with each other, and we just love our films. And so if there are any particular films that you'd want us to talk about going forward in a retro review, or any films that are upcoming that you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments below. And you also drop down again, your top 10, top 5.
Comment below your top 10 of the 2010s. And we're going to continue next with the 2000s. And then do us a favor too. Go to Facebook, Friends by Film, like that page, and subscribe below, comment below, let us know what you think. And we will be back with more episodes to come in 2021. Thanks so much. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.